It's been a pretty wild year so far this year. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of shit's been happening. But it's pretty safe to say, looking at the screen right here, that the first 2 months of this year, I was a consistent loser in the stock market trading. I would consistently lose more than I would win. Win rate was 34%. And my average win loss actually was not bad, meaning that I did have smaller like individual trade losses than my winners, but my win rate was just god awful to the point where it didn't matter. Like that didn't matter. And you can see by this chart, like we were just consistently losing money. Like just like that chart is a consistent trend down. But something happened like mid-April and something clicked. March was break even. April overall was break even, but there's something that clicked in mid-April that essentially turned us from this beginning of the year, the first 2 months, to being pretty shitty. So let's go out to April. Let's call like the last week of April. Let me just adjust this to what we currently have right now out through June. It's currently the 27th as I film this video. But if I were to go to like April, the last week of April through now, something changed. Because look at that P&L curve since then. It is the exact opposite of what we saw those first 2 months, and it's beautiful. It is steadily rising. Our win rate's at 62%, so that increased. And we can look at the chart on the right, and yeah, we've had some bigger red days than maybe I want. That's something I'm working on. But I think part of that is that when we realize a move is not working, or when we have our first take profit hit, sometimes a trade can come back and hit our stop loss, which could end up stopping us out for a smaller win overall in the trade than maybe was intended to be. Still securing a profit, not letting a nice winner turn to a loser. And so that's why that average win rate, I think, is a bit skewed, and it's at 0.95, meaning that technically our losers are a little bit bigger than our winners, but they're pretty close. A one is like even. But the win rate being that good cancels it out. So that right there, I think is really cool. That what is that? April, or I guess throughout the entire month of May and June. So it's been 2 solid months, right? We had 2 shitty months, and then we've had 2 solid months. We had like 2 break-even months along the way. So I thought back to this period, right? And I was like, what changed? What was I doing, right? Can I put my finger on it? And I can. And so that's what this video is all about. So I want to share not only that, but I also want to share a couple principles that have really defined my like trading nowadays. And this specifically is only option day trades. That's it. I've dabbled with futures. I haven't traded them that much, and I've found that, to be honest, I just like this better. And it works better, and I've been playing with bigger size here anyway, versus futures. Then at the same time, we have our Robinhood portfolio, which is like a little over 10K as we film right now. That account is up like 40-ish% on the year. Market's been really strong since the beginning of the year, so I'm not super surprised. However, we just recently thinned out of a lot of tech stuff, and now we are in what I believe is a little bit more of a conservative portfolio approach. It's not as volatile, and the intention is if the market were to pull back, that we'll hold on to the majority of those gains from this first half of the year so far. But this is separate. This is trading. That's an investing portfolio longer term. So what did I start doing? I started running consistently. If you were to go back to mid-April, I made a video, and the video is titled, I Quit Trading Stocks to $100,000. And at the time, that video, I don't want to say it's clickbait because, who the fuck cares? Like, there's not many people watching the videos anyway in the grand scheme of things. But it was clickbait to a degree where I stopped that series. I just didn't want to call it that series. I had been driving I don't want to say my head into the ground, but the way I was running that was boring as fuck. Like, no one cared. You know what I mean? So I was like, let's change this up. Let's add a little bit more behind the scenes. Let's add a different dynamic. Because I also want to commit to this running thing. I've got a race, an ultra marathon planned for the end of this year. I want to document that, which is a huge part of my life, fitness aspect. And then I also want to pair up this trading stuff, which is also a huge part of my life because that's what I do for, a large amount of my free time. So I figured combine the two of those, make them more vlog style, make them more fun behind the scenes, more personality. And that's what we decided to do. So going back into this, running, what did it do, right? It's not that I started running that all of a sudden made me more money. No, I didn't make money from running. Actually, running has probably hurt me more. It's taken my body through, a lot more that I'm not used to. I'm recovering from things differently. It's requiring more sleep, more food. My leg, I got this, I got that. Like, you have other problems. So it's actually probably like taken my focus and, added more shit, right? Added more shit to my life. But in doing so, for me to still do the things that I do on a day-to-day basis, week to week, month to month, whether that's work-wise, whether that's lifting-wise, because I still make that a priority at least 3 times a week. Many times it's 4 times a week that I'm still lifting weights. And then on top of that, my work, right, it's trading also. And then, home, we got a dog, got a puppy, right? So you have all these things and you're like, oh shit, like you're adding more to the plate. Like you're going to probably be worse at all these other things. But no, it actually has been the opposite. I've seen the opposite effect. And that discipline that's been started from running has bled into other aspects and training specifically. And that's what I want to dive into. So what it's done for me discipline-wise, I'm up by 6 a.m. the latest every single day. I was getting up at like 5:45 before the puppy. The puppy, we've been kind of getting on the schedule of 6 a.m. It just works with our schedule. But I think now the puppy's getting, crate trained and is trained better, I think I'm going to start moving that to 5:45 again. Why 5:45? It's not like, oh, I must get up 5:45. I can't get up at 6. It is kind of cooler to say, yeah, I get up before 6. Like, hey, look at me. I'm such a badass. Like, who really cares? But it adds that extra 15 minutes for me. That's like, get up, get ready, out the door by 6 type of deal to get to the gym, to go on the runs. Like that's, and it just works. It saves a few minutes, at least in my head mentally. And so that's why I want to get back into that. But at least worst case scenario, it's 6 a.m. And so I run and or lift by 7:38. I'm home by 7:38 from the run or the lift. That's every single day during the week. The weekends I will either have, or the weekends will change a little bit, where same time, the morning is 6-ish, maybe 6:30. Oh, we get to sleep in on Sunday. Oh, fuck. But the only thing that changes there would be the run is longer. So I might be home by 10 or 11 because I'm out fucking running for 3 hours or whatever. And so I take my time because there's not, there's less responsibilities during the weekend. I still have other work that I do on the weekends and stuff that I don't work like a traditional like 9 to 5. So I'm not pressured into like a specific routine. So sometimes when I'm behind on things, I will do work on the weekends. So that's fine. So like it adds into that, but it all plays in and it all works for me. Then I'm on the charts from 8:30 to like 11-ish a.m. That could change, but generally speaking, once the market opens around 8:30, I'm watching the charts 15 minutes before I take a trade, if I'm going to take a trade early on. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes I don't trade, right? And then the day goes through, we kind of just get to that point where it's like noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. my time, which is Central time here in Texas. And then I have other work essentially from like the lunch hour through the rest of the day that I'm doing, whether that's YouTube related stuff, whether that's other work on advertising stuff, whether that's other Amazon stuff that I do in the background. Those are things that I'm doing, right? So work, if you will call it that. And it's not like, oh, it's just this job. It's various other things that I've talked about in the past. And, that's what I do. That also pays the bills, right? Then it's dinner, wind down, 5 p.m. plus. And so this routine has been essentially solidified because of running. Because I used to be running midday and I used to be going to the gym midday, all these different things. I wasn't able to kind of like fit things in like properly. And I kind of had this like rambled mess. There was no discipline. There was no routine that I came in and did the same thing every day. Obviously every day is different to a degree, but I came in and did generally the same thing, the same set of things in a row, and I could get good at those things and focus in on those things because this is the time to do those things, not later, not earlier. It's now. That's it. So through establishing this discipline in other aspects of my life and running and whatever, fitness is a whole thing that it's always been a part of my life, but I think running has been a good piece. Every so often you get bored, you get fatigued, you get burnt out. I don't want to say burnt out, but you get things get tired, right? And you need to spice it up. You got to change it, right? You got to just turn that dial just one more notch just to, have your body adapt properly. And that was kind of what I needed, I think. So in terms of transferring this over to trading, how have I actually been disciplined? Like what actually changed? Well, the first few months I was trading fucking 20 strategies. I was doing, this trend line, this bounce, this looks good. I was going off of this looks good type shit for this day. And it worked at the end of last year, December was one of my best months. And then I got to the beginning of this year and it just didn't work. My win rate was horrible, right? It just didn't work. So it's forced me to say, no. Let's trade one strategy, one setup that works up and it works down. So it doesn't matter the day necessarily. And that's it. Let's only trade that. And that's what I've been doing since mid-April. That's all I've been doing. One strategy. I've dialed the risk in. I know my risk reward pretty well. It's pretty straightforward. It's the same thing for every trade, roughly speaking. I mark the levels out, take the trade, either the take profits hit or the stop loss hits, and we stop out. That's it. And I operate much more in a probability mindset when it comes to the trades because I know there's going to be losers. I know. But as long as I stick to this approach and my win rate's above 50%, and I can generally have, either the same size or bigger winners and losers, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be golden, right? That's just a system that you can, refine, and we up that win rate maybe over time. I think by doing that, there'll be days or trades I just won't take. Days you'll take off that will maybe have less trades, but a better win rate, right? And so as you size up, who cares? It's not like you need to take 1 million trades. As you size up, who cares? The highest quality comes to you, you take it, and you get a bigger bang for your buck, right? As time goes on. And I do the same thing every fucking day. It doesn't, I don't come in and say, oh, today I'm going to trade trend lines. Today I'm going to trade, this candlestick pattern. I'm going to trade this, it's the same pattern up and down. It's momentum, it's breakouts, up or down. That's it. And there's criteria that has to be met on the bigger time frames before I enter on the 5-minute time frame. And then I have take profits, roughly 10+% is where I start taking profits. And then my stop loss is generally around 10% worst case scenario. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes more, depending on the contracts I'm trading. I always check those things before the trade. But it took the pressure off because now every single day I operate almost, I don't want to say like a sniper, but I come in and there's one thing I look for. I'm not coming in and having all the market, this fucking news, this fucking guy, this Discord, this, that influence the trading, the approach, the strategy, are we playing breakouts? Are we buying the dip today? Or are we doing, no, it doesn't, no, it's not. We don't do that shit. Like I come in, I look for one thing. That's it. It's either it's there or it's not. If it's not there, you don't trade. Many times you'll be able to find it. There's a list of 10 stocks I trade. That's it. So I keep it pretty simple. So I'll generally be able to find a setup that is the best of the day. Some days will be really good. Some days I won't. And it'll look okay. And that's where you have to take that kind of subjective approach to a degree of this is not ideal. It's not optimal. It meets, 3 out of 5 boxes or 4 out of 5 boxes, but it's not perfect. It's not 100% to the strategy, to the system. If I want to take it, let's size down. That's the only subjective part that I'll have. But everything else is just the same thing. If it's there, great. If it's not, you walk away. And so hopefully that's, not that this is a video that you have to, I got to start running. I got to start going to the gym. No. I mean, that's something I enjoy. It's a piece of my life. I think that adds a factor of discipline to your life that can lead into other aspects, whether it's at work, school, trading. It could be whatever you're pursuing for sure. But that's just what I've noticed. And, I figured I'd make this video to share it because, we've got some data behind it. It's not like, I got some bullshit. Here it's one day. No, it's a couple months. We had 2 shitty months. We had about a month and a half or so of flat break even. And then we had 2 really good months. So let's keep it going. Let's keep the train going. But the thing is, it's not like I'm doing the same thing that I was the first 2 months. And so you can say, oh, well, you're trading the same way. The market's just providing better opportunities. No. This is a system and strategy that I want to run the rest of the year, and let's see how the rest of the year goes. Obviously, there could be a red month, there could be 2, there could be 3. I don't know. There'll be red weeks, I'm sure. But let's see how it goes. So that's that. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you got something out of the video. If you did, thumbs up button. Consider subscribing. I appreciate the hell out of you. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.